Hello, Cancer. Welcome to Soul Good. I'm Amber Marie, and this is your 2023 Tarotscope. If you're curious about the decks that I'm using today, you can find a list of them in the description box below. You can also find links to my social media accounts, as well as links to information on personal readings and the Soul Good membership channel on Telegram. There will also be a timestamp in the description box if you would like to bypass the shuffling that I do. Before we jump in, I would like to remind you that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so please only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. We're going to be looking at a lot of information today, Cancer, so let's jump right in. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us about Cancer's theme for 2023, please. I just got the word growth, okay? Cancer's theme for 2023, thank you. Tell us about a shift or epiphany, or an epiphany that will take place for Cancer in 2023. Tell us about a shift, thank you. Tell us about Cancer's biggest asset for 2023. What is Cancer's biggest asset for 2023, please? Cancer's biggest asset, thank you. Tell us about what Cancer might have an opportunity to learn in 2023. What might Cancer have the opportunity to learn in 2023? Okay. What does Cancer's soul want them to know for the year, please? Okay, thank you. What does God want Cancer to know for 2023, please? Thank you. Wow, fast. And what is a blessing that Cancer will have an opportunity to receive this year? What is a blessing that Cancer will have an opportunity? Thank you. Let's get some clarity. Tell us more about Cancer's theme for 2023, please. Thank you. Tell us more about a shift or an epiphany that will take place for Cancer. I feel like you're releasing fears in 2023. How would you like? Yes, okay, thank you. Tell us about tell us about Cancer's biggest asset. Tell us more about that, please. No, let's try that again. I mean, I did see the death card there, Cancer, so it could potentially be that your biggest asset is going through a death and rebirth process, the transformation process, right? Let's see what comes through, though. Tell us more, please, about Cancer's biggest asset for 2023. Give us some clarity on that, please. Tell us more about Cancer's biggest asset for 2023. Thank you. Tell us more about what Cancer might have an opportunity to learn in 2023. Thank you. How would you like? Yes, okay. Tell us more about what Cancer's soul would like them to know for 2023, please. Yes, thank you. Tell us more about what God would like Cancer to know for 2023. Tell us more about what God would like you to know, Cancer. Thank you. Right? And tell us more about a blessing that Cancer will have the opportunity to receive in 2023. Tell us more, please. Tell us more about a blessing that Cancer might have the opportunity. Yes, thank you. Okay, let's jump in, Cancer. All right, so the theme for you for 2023, we have here building blocks. Beautiful. So here's the thing, Cancer. I feel like for 2023, you're laying foundations, right? And like I was saying with that death and rebirth card, right? You may be going through a transformation, and I did hear growth at the beginning of your reading as well, right? So for me, this building blocks card coming up as your theme for 2023, it tells me that you could be having tremendous epiphanies. You could be experiencing breakthroughs, right? Which allow you to lay strong, stable foundations for who it is you want to be in 2023, right? And it's interesting because it feels, how do I word this? It feels less about being driven by purpose, Cancer, and more about you understanding yourself, right? And I feel like you could be potentially taking inventory or sifting through the bits of yourself, the many facets of who you are, really trying to get a grasp on how do I word this? It's like, I want to keep this. I don't want to keep this. I want to keep this. I don't want to keep this, right? It just really feels like taking a look at or analyzing those traits within yourself or characteristics within yourself, which are going to provide you the type of foundation for the person that you want to be throughout this year, right? And beyond, right? It really feels like just really starting to lay things out. Organizing is what it feels like, which is really interesting because 2023 is a universal 7 year, and that 7 can be this representation of being very reflective on yourself, very introspective, right? Really kind of evaluating yourself. So it makes sense that it would be here. What else do we have? The Magician in reverse. Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like you're getting to who you are, right? Sifting through who you are, what you do want, what you don't want. And it's interesting because the Magician in the reverse is it's a very kind of tricksy type of energy, right? It's deceptive. And oftentimes for me it comes through as like, I don't have everything I need, right, to create the reality that I want, to master my own experiences. So it's that doubt, right? And it's interesting because, again, I feel like you're sifting through these traits, these characteristics, these things that may be tricking you, deceiving you into believing that you don't have everything you need, right? It feels very limiting beliefs to me. It feels like, you could be holding on to things that aren't conducive to building that firm foundation, right? So it feels like your theme for 2023, Cancer, is getting rid of those things that prevent you from feeling like you can move forward, right? And I'm saying it very generally because I feel like this is going to apply differently for everyone. For some of you, I feel like there's wounding that's taken place, right? That has actually, the way I'm seeing it is very much like a stone being tied to your ankle and dropped into like water, like a lake or a river, and it weighing you down while you're trying to like get air, right? So this thing has literally, like, it feels like it's been preventing you from feeling like you can move even, right? I don't know what this is, but whatever it is for you, you will know that it's something that you have been dragging with you. This is something that has limited you incredibly. It has created some sort of wounding or trauma within you that you have been struggling to move on from, right? It feels like a weight. It feels like baggage. It feels like maybe something where you have guilt, where you need forgiveness, where you struggle to understand, something like that, right? Something that was not, it's like, I feel like I can't wrap my head around it, right? Like I feel like I'm struggling to understand whatever this is. For others of you, I feel like this is literally the story that you tell yourself, right? Like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, right? And here's the thing, here's what I want to say, Cancer, so very lovingly. When you speak that way to yourself, when you buy that and sell it. Okay, so that is essentially you selling it is like, I can't do that. That you telling somebody you're selling it, right? You go through these, these perceptions, and you tell yourself that's not possible for me, and then you tell it to somebody else, right? So you're buying it and you're selling it. For some of you, this is literally about the stories that you tell yourself, right? Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe whatever it looks like. I just want to say very lovingly that the energy that's coming through with this is almost an annoyance, right? Because it feels like you have so much more potential and you prevent yourself from stepping into that fully, right? However that looks. So it's a little bit of a like, gosh, could you just, right? Um stop telling yourself the same story, right? It's preventing you, it's deceiving you into creating firm foundations. It's deceiving you and making you believe that you don't have what you need in order to create the life that you want, to build the life that you want. Actually, I just looked up and we were at 1111 as well, Cancer. So I do feel like this is a year of awakening for you. I feel like this is a year where you could potentially be put in positions and given opportunities to really step into, like, how do I word this? It's stepping into what you're truly capable of, right? So I feel like this could be showing up differently for everyone depending on who you are, right? But I do feel like there is something here, either that you're carrying around, that you've been carrying around for a long time, that's prevented you from moving forward in your life. Okay, something that you have been holding on to that has already happened, that has already taken place, that had a tremendous effect on you, right? That I feel like this is something you could be working on throughout this year, or you've been telling yourself stories and it's prevented you from building the life that you want. Or maybe a little bit of both, right? But that's how I'm seeing this energy here as your theme for 2023. So let's take a look at what is a shift or an epiphany that is taking place for you, Cancer, for 2023. We have to the sea. This is the number 7, which is interesting because we were just talking about how this is a universal 7 year, right? So again, what's interesting about this to the sea card is I do feel like this is going to be a year for you, Cancer, where here's the thing, I'm going to be real with you because I'm going to call it like I see it. I feel like you could be put in positions where you are essentially, I don't want to say forced to go deeper, but I do feel like in order for that shift to take place, sometimes we are put in situations that make us uncomfortable, right? And I feel like part of that for you, Cancer, could be being essentially made to dive deeper, right? I feel like that's where that shift takes place. That's where that epiphany takes place. I do want to read, which message do we want? The Oracle message, yes, thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and read this card for you. I will read the meanings of this card and the Oracle's message. So it says here, being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, right? It's interesting because that's kind of what I'm getting with that diving deep, right? Being forced to see things, or a natural pattern of events. Of course, take it how it resonates with you, Cancer. It says here, isn't it wonderful when you feel yourself in the flow of life? When events and conditions seem to engage you in a way that is fluid and effortless. This card reminds you that going with the flow is exactly what you need to do right now. Ride the wave of opportunity formed by perfect conditions. Allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. Okay, and again, like I feel like some of you have been preventing yourself from moving forward, right? Because you've been telling yourself that you can't for whatever reason, right? Whatever the reason is. Maybe it's you don't have enough time. Maybe it's you don't have enough money. Maybe it's you don't have enough energy. Maybe it's you, I don't know. You don't feel strong enough. You don't feel wise enough. You don't feel right? Experienced enough, whatever it is. I feel like you've been telling yourself some sort of story that's prevented you from flowing, right? Or for some of you, I feel like you may have not been able to allow yourself to release things in the manner at which they've potentially tried. Like I almost feel like for those that resonate more with that side of things, I feel like there may have been opportunities that have come up to, or rather for you to be able to release whatever this is. And so how do I say this? It's almost as if I'm seeing it kind of like a river, right? Like the flow brought you to that place where you had the opportunity to release it. And for those, again, that those that resonate with this, I feel like you didn't, right? I feel like you kept clinging to it. And looking back now, you may see that where you had opportunities for this to be, addressed and released and forgiven or what have you, right? But I feel like you prevented that flow um, somehow by clinging, by not allowing it to be released, right? I also feel, it's interesting to me because I do feel like this year, Cancer, could take you deep, right? I feel like that's where the flow could be going. Let's see what the tarot has to offer. Wow, so Page of Wands in the reverse. Yeah, so it's interesting about the Page of Wands in the reverse is it's that energy of procrastination, right? It's that that being held back, right? And so I feel like this is going to be something that shifts for you in 2023 because you got like I'm struggling because this comes from a very loving place, but I want to deliver the message to you in a way that is conducive, right? In a way that helps you to see things that maybe you weren't seeing before, bring into your awareness things that maybe you that weren't brought to your attention previously, right? And the way that it's being shown is like this shift could be taking place by these things essentially forcefully being brought to your attention and you moving through them, right? But I feel like the way that that shift takes place is by you allowing that to happen. Okay, that's how I'm seeing this. I feel like there's that conflict that could be resolved if you should allow yourself to flow and feel what you need to, release what you need to, right? And I feel like this could make or create big, big changes within your reality for 2023. But you are going to need to release fears, Cancer. Like, I mean, I say that with so much love because it's so much easier said than done, right? But that is what I feel is going to create the most movement for you, right? And oh, sorry guys, I just hit the table. I want to lovingly say, right, by releasing whatever this is, whether it's the limiting thoughts, the limiting stories, or whether it's something that you experience that's been, kind of weighing you down. When you release it, it doesn't mean you forget, right? It doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean that it never happened. It doesn't mean any of those things, right? It just means that you don't allow the emotion or the trauma, the wounding, right? It no longer has the ability to control you, right? It no longer has the ability to limit you to, right? And that's for the pain of it or the wounding or the trauma, right? So I just felt like I needed to say that. Let's take a look at your biggest asset for 2023, Cancer. You do have your TikTok. So I feel like what's interesting about this is I feel like your biggest asset is time, right? I feel like your biggest asset is that you have the ability to pick and choose what you spend your time on, what you spend your energy on, right? I also feel like there's a message here for many of you that your biggest asset is like time is not running out. You're not running out of time, right? I feel like that's a message that some of you need to hear. Like you're not running out of time. Time is your biggest asset right now. You have the time, right? You have all the time in the world. And I feel like it's just about how you spend it. It's just about how you spend it, right? What are you spending your time doing? Are they things that bring you life, that make you feel joy and happiness? Are they things that bring you peace? Are they things, excuse me, are they things that are fulfilling, right? Are they things that are conducive to your growth, your expansion, you raising your consciousness, right? Like, what are the things that you're putting your time into? The threes are about expansion. They're about growth. For, they can be about groups as well. But I feel like one of the biggest things here is about the fact that you have the time, and that's your asset. You have time to grow. You have time to make decisions, right? You have time to, how do I word this? It really, it kind of feels like building. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. You have time to build, right? You have TikTok, right? There's that balloon there with the clock in the hands. Like, I feel like you have time, and I feel like for some of you, there's a need for you to be thank you, Lord, to look at what you're given, right? And this isn't going to resonate with everybody, but if it strikes a chord with you, if it triggers you, it's probably for you. I just want to say that right now. Um, some of you, your biggest asset is time, and you don't even realize it. You really don't, right? Like, I feel like you have more than enough time to put into your own growth, into the things that you enjoy, the things that are going to bring you peace, bring you happiness, bring you fulfillment, right? And for some of you, you don't. You put those limiting beliefs on yourself. Maybe you tell yourself you don't have time. Maybe you tell yourself you're running out of time, right? Let me see wow. So you have the Lovers here, which, what's really interesting about this card showing up in this position is being your biggest asset. First of all, I feel like for some of you, that 3 can be about groups, right? So for some of you, it's the relationships that are part of your asset as well, right? This year. But for a majority of you, I feel like your biggest asset is the fact that you have the opportunity to choose, like I was saying, what you do with your time. Because originally the Lovers was the card of choice. It was choices. And even now, the Lovers card represents choices. So again, like, your biggest asset is that you have the opportunity to choose what you give your time to. What are you choosing to put your time into? Are they things that mean something to you? Right? Are they things that are conducive to your growth? Are you choosing them because it is what is true for you, or are you choosing them because you're, telling yourself that that's what you have to do, or that you don't have any other choice, right? Because that's the thing, you do have a choice, Cancer, and I feel like that's going to be important for you to remember as you move through 2023. I just hit the mic, sorry guys. So let's take a look now, at what you have an opportunity to learn in 2023, Cancer. Now, this could be something that might be challenging or difficult to face. Interesting, we have this Yang energy here, which is really fascinating. This is the number 1 card. So first of all, I feel like there's new beginnings that are showing up for you, right? But what's interesting about this Yang energy, Cancer, is the fact that you do hold this feminine energy, right? Based on your zodiac. And this is masculine. And the thing about this masculine energy, right? So I feel like what you may have an opportunity to learn is, I'm feeling there's an element here of confidence. And it's interesting because I'm feeling like for some of you, there's this element of learning to have confidence in your emotions, in the fact that you are a sensitive being, right? I don't know I don't know where this is coming or who this is for, but it feels like that could be something difficult for some of you. I feel like you find it difficult to thoroughly confidently and clearly express your emotions. Like you find it difficult to clearly express your emotions, you find it difficult to confidently express your emotions, and you may find it difficult to like to like be courageous, right? Like to say, this is how I feel, this is all of the things, right? Like and here's what's fascinating is like I feel like you might express enough of it that somebody feels like they're getting the whole story. I don't know who this is for, but for some of you it's like, but you're not though. Like I don't know how to explain this. I really don't, because it feels like you like give enough that whoever you're speaking to, even if it's yourself, is like, okay, yeah, that's what it is, but you know there's more, right? And so there's this energy with this yang energy that's like, I feel like you have the opportunity to step into the fact that you experience things and feel things confidently, right? To step into that from a place of strength, to step into it from a place of clarity, right? Like this is what I feel, right? And certainty. Like I know this is what I feel. Being assertive, right? I feel like for some of you, you kind of I think you kind of play aloof sometimes. Really. That's how it feels. Like, oh, I'm fine, or you know, it's all right, or it's no big deal, or whatever, but like there's way more to it than that. Right. And I feel like some of you like don't, I don't know what it is, but some of you I feel fear your emotions, or you fear how others may respond to your emotions. And so I feel like you could be finding yourself in positions this year where you're going to need to be able to be assertive and certain and clear about about your emotions and how you feel about things, your truth, your authentic experience. It's really fascinating to me. What else do we have? Let's see what the tarot says. Okay, so 5 of Cups is an energy of loss, grief, mourning, disappointment. And I here's the thing. I feel like some you guys, I don't know what this is for some of you, but I feel like there is something, again, something you're holding on to where you have not expressed your emotions fully. You have not expressed your feelings, your thoughts, how it's affected you, whatever it is, thoroughly. Not really, right? Or maybe the thing of it is like maybe others feel like you've got this under control, like you've dealt with whatever this is, and the truth is you haven't. Right? For some of you, the stories that you tell yourself are the stories of criticizing yourself. Maybe it's because of a loss you experienced. Maybe it's because of a disappointment you experienced, right? Maybe it's somebody that betrayed you, or whatever the case may be, right? And so now you're in this space of criticizing yourself, avoiding your emotions because you don't want to get hurt again, right? You don't feel like you're sure in what you feel or who you are, because maybe you thought you were sure before, but then that turned out in a way that you didn't think it would, and you got hurt or disappointed, and so you're like, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, right? So like there's an avoidant type of energy here, and again, that could be the limiting story that you've been telling yourself, or the limiting whatever that thing is that's been preventing you from moving forward. Yeah, look at this. You also have here, fascinating how all of these cards are exactly the same color. But you also have this 7 of Swords here in the reverse, and that 7 of Swords, you guys are not going to believe this, but it's that energy of coming clean. It's also this energy of like rethinking your approach, like something is not working, right? And again, maybe you've been deceiving yourself thinking, and again, like I said, maybe it's what you've been telling yourself. Maybe you've been telling yourself you're fine, you're over it, you're whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it's still been affecting your reality. And I think this is part of that challenging opportunity, right? It gives you this ability to learn something about yourself, right? But it can be very difficult to face. And I feel like this is difficult to face because it may be something that you've been pressing right? Not pressing, but pushing down, that you've been, sweeping under the rug or hiding in the background, or maybe you think about it in your quiet moments, but you don't talk about it a whole lot, right? Whatever it is, like, I just really feel like this is something where you may have to come clean with yourself and others. And this puts you in a position to learn some incredible things about yourself, right? And it may be challenging or difficult for you to face these things because, again, it may have something to do with things that you've lost or disappointments that you've experienced, and coming clean with yourself and others about them. Again, clearly, confidently, right? Assertively, with certainty, with courage, right? Like I was saying, very interesting. And you also have another 7 here showing up again, right? So I find it fascinating because it's that universal 7 year, and one of, again, reflection, introspection, like really taking a look at ourselves. What does your soul want you to know with all of this information? Yeah, you're healing, Cancer. That's what your soul wants you to know. You have the mending card here, which this is 52 and also reduces to 7. This is going to be I feel like 2023 for you, Cancer, is going to be a big year of self-analysis, right? Of really taking a look at yourself, really getting reflective, really getting introspective, really sifting through the things, right? And I do feel like, your soul wants you to know that you're healing, or that at the very least, Cancer, you have the opportunity to heal. It's completely up to you. You get to decide, but this is what your soul wants you to know. Yeah, look at this. You have the Queen of Wands here as well, with what your soul wants you to know. And here's the thing. I feel like there's this element here, Cancer, of, it's like your soul wants you to know that you're healing. And I feel like there's something about this healing that could potentially allow you to share your light with the world. I also feel like your soul wants you to have courage, wants you to be determined to allow this healing to take place, to not give up on yourself, right? Because here's the thing about the Queen of Wands. First of all, she's lively, she's fiery, she's determined, she's passionate, right? She's independent, but she's easily excited too. And there's this element here of your soul saying, like, don't give up. Keep going. Be excited about the fact that you are stepping into that beautiful light that you are, right? By healing these things, right? It's essentially, the way that it's being shown to me is almost like a blanket or a net or something being cast over a light, creating that cagey kind of look, or shadowed, or dim light kind of look. And so I feel like your soul's like, hey, we are bringing these things forth. Like, these things are being brought into your reality so that you can heal them, and so that you can shine the way that you're meant to, right? So that you can be excited about life, so that you can be passionate about life, right? It feels like there's this element of not allowing these things to hold you back, to really ignite this fire within you that may have been, smothered for quite some time, smothered by limiting beliefs, smothered by, the baggage or the weight that you've been carrying around. Take it how it resonates with you. What does God want you to know, Cancer? Fork in the road. Yeah, God wants you to know you have decisions to make, right? Essentially, I mean, God's saying, like, here's the thing about this. So this card has been showing up, Cancer, in my membership readings a lot as we've moved into 2023, and within these Zodiac readings or Tarotscopes, right? This fork in the road. There's this, I don't even know what it is. You guys, I'm not a zoologist, forgive me, but there's like an alpaca or a llama or something. And he has on his back, or its back, an owl, an apple, and a saddle. And in this saddle is the oracle's face. This tells me that this alpaca, llama, whatever, that is tied to this pole, or seemingly tied to this pole, has everything it needs. It has all of the wisdom that it needs in order to make a decision, in order to make a choice, in order to move forward on its path, right? We have the oracle. You have the owl, which represents wisdom. You have the apple. And when I think of the apple, I think of Adam and Eve, right? The tree of knowledge. I think of teachers, right? You give teachers apples. And, there could be things externally that are telling you that you don't know which way to go, but in truth, you do. In truth, you know the decisions that you need to make. In truth, you know what needs to be done in order for you to move forward, whatever that looks like. Even if that's you moving forward by letting some things go, or if it's you moving forward by telling yourself a different story, right? But either way, you have everything you need available to you. And I apologize that it might be a little bit hard to see with the ring light, but there is, again, an owl, that apple, and the oracle. I'm trying to let it focus for you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the oracle's face there in the saddle. So, it's what do you know? Right? I feel like that's what God's saying. Like, you have everything you need to make the decisions that are right for you, to align you with your path. Yes, you can make this shit up, but you've got to stop telling yourself the same stories. You've got to free yourself from whatever this thing is, Cancer, that has been preventing you, that has been keeping you bound, right? For some of you, I don't know why, but for some of you, this feels like guilt, right? It feels like I'm in this, like, how do I word this? It feels like I am in this prison that I created because I deserve to be here. And I don't, I mean, I'm not God, right? That's a conversation that you and God need to have, but it doesn't feel to me like whatever it is that you're meant to be carrying that. If you resonate with this, like, you're not supposed to be carrying that guilt, right? It's not supposed to keep you bound, tied up, right? You're supposed to essentially experience what it is, learn from it, and release it and move forward with what you've gained, right? And I know, again, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I know that that's so much easier said than done. And I know that there are a lot of fears that come with things like that. Okay? But God wants you to know, like, you are keeping yourself trapped. You are imprisoning yourself. You have everything you need to move forward, but you have to let yourself, right? When we hold on to things, Cancer, I want to lovingly share with you, when we hold on to things, whether it's things in our physical experience, right? So clutter, or if it's emotions, right? We essentially take up space within our reality that cannot be filled with other things, right? So, for example, God may be trying to bring you into a new opportunity, but God can't bring that into your life until you make room for it, right? So, I feel like God is saying here, free yourself. You have it, like, choose, right? And this is not the first time this energy's shown up, because we have here the Lovers, right? Make a choice. We have the Seven of Swords here. Come clean. Rethink things, right? Could be an incredibly transformative year for you. Incredibly transformative. What is the blessing that you may have the opportunity to receive, Cancer? You have exchanging gifts. So, I mean, like, I'm going to read the prosperity message here for you, Cancer, just to give us a better idea of what we're looking at. But it's kind of fascinating to me that we're talking about a blessing here and you literally get exchanging gifts. Okay. So I feel like the blessing that the universe is trying to give you is literally by helping you, by giving you what you need in order to move forward. But again, let's take a look at the prosperity message and see what the book has to say. Okay, so it says here, the meanings of this card are the law of giving and receiving, currency, trade-offs, weighing costs, and determining value. The prosperity message is all your hard work and efforts, your commitment to learning, creating, and spending your time wisely. You can't make this shit up, Cancer. You really can't, because what do you have up here? TikTok. And what did I say? You have You get to decide how you spend your time, right? Your biggest asset is that you have the time and you get to decide how you spend it. Can't make this stuff up. Okay, so let me start that again. All your hard work and efforts, your commitment to learning, creating, and spending your time wisely pay off in ways you may not have been anticipating. The gifts of yourself, your time, your ideas, and the energy of your intentions are being reciprocated by the universe, which is sending you signs and signals, aligning synchronistic meetings and opportunities to bring you success and more. Everything is an exchange. Keep doing what you're doing. Goodwill comes back tenfold. So here's the beautiful thing about this, Cancer. I really feel like if you're willing to put the work in this year, the universe is going to bless you back tenfold, right? That's how I feel about this. And it's because it's an opportunity, right? When I created this spread, it's a blessing you'll have the opportunity to receive. It doesn't guarantee that it's showing up, but you'll have the opportunity, right? And so I feel like if you put that work in, because it says here, right, all your hard work and efforts. So if you put that work in, I feel like the universe is going to bless you back. What is this here? Yeah, look at this. You have the world in reverse. So regardless of it being in the upright or shadow position, the world showing up is a sign of big changes. Okay. In the reverse, there is this energy of a cycle being incomplete or incompletion, lack of closure, as well as emptiness. And here's the thing. When we are holding on to things that we're not meant to, that cause us grief, guilt, shame, right? Anything like that. We hold on to those things. Or we carry some sort of burden around, right? That we can't seem to let go of. Maybe we blame ourselves for it, right? Whatever it is. We tend to have this void that we don't know how to fill. And and here I'm going to say this so lovingly. I mean, sometimes the fact of the matter is, Cancer, we don't have the, how do I even word this? Like, we don't have the perspective or the tools that we need in order to be able to remedy it, right? Sometimes that's like a job for God, right? Sometimes it's like, hey, Lord, I need your help in figuring out how to move forward from this, right? Sometimes we can't see from our perspective what we need to be doing, right? We can look and we see a wall, where God can look and see 10 different ways out, 10 different paths that we can take, right? And so it's interesting because I feel like, God is putting you in a position where you can make these decisions to no longer stay in this space, where you have the opportunity to grow, right? Where you have the opportunity to close some of those cycles, to find closure, to fill that emptiness, right? But I definitely feel like it's about putting that work in, right? It's not just going to fall in your lap. Like it's going to require you putting forth that effort to really work through your things, to really allow yourself to move forward, right? And that's the biggest thing here. So that is what I have for you, Cancer, for 2023. I pray that there is something here that has resonated with you or been helpful for you as you navigate your year. If there has, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, or smashing that subscribe button. It really does help the channel to grow. It tells YouTube that there may be something here for someone else that they would like to see. And so they push it out into the algorithm. And I thank you so much for that. I'm sending you the biggest of hugs, Cancer, however this shows up for you. Whatever it is that you may find yourself facing this year, know that you have the power within you to decide at any moment in time to write your story. You have it within you at any point in time to change, right? to change how the story feels, to change what you experience within the story that is yours. You have this beautiful path unfolding before you, and I feel like you've only just begun to really, how do I word this? It's really interesting because it's not to say that you aren't already an amazing person, but I feel like you've only begun to scratch the surface of who you truly are. And I feel like the deeper you dive, I feel like the more, how do I word this? Like the more appreciative of yourself you will become, right? Because it's like, I feel like there's something here about understanding the complexity of all that which is you. But in order to do that, you have to be willing to dive into these things, and you have to be willing to make room for these parts of yourself to show up, right? To essentially let that light out. And you have everything you need to be able to do that. I'm sending you the biggest of hugs. I love you. Have an amazing 2023. Take care of your beautiful soul, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye.